Today I'm going to show you guys how to check and fix your deliverability score in Klaviyo for email. So in particular, Klaviyo is maybe somewhat unique. I don't know. I'm guessing like a lot of other large ESP email service providers also utilize deliverability scores to separate their senders. I know all of them don't, but Klaviyo does. I'm not sure about other ones in particular. And what that means is that Klaviyo gives you as a sender, a score, which you can find under their analytics and deliverability section. And right now, my score is a 71. If you click over to this over time, you can see that it gives you a breakdown of the scores and what that means to Klaviyo. 0 to 49 is poor, 75 to 89 is good, 90 to 100 is excellent. And for each one of those categories that Klaviyo has, they put you on a different server for sending emails. So if you're in this fair category, you're grouped with other people that are in that fair category. And then from there, the different inbox providers actually, change. They have a quote unquote deliverability score for you as well. Not for you specifically, but the server that you're sending emails from. So if you're in Klaviyo's fair server, Google is going to see that and recognize that and put more of your emails into the spam folder automatically. So you really want to be in this like good and obviously excellent range to get as many of your emails as possible into the inbox. And then there's a few other things that affect your inbox. And you can see here in 2025, we were hovering pretty low, always low in the fair range. We took a bit of a break from, and actually we stopped sending emails after 420 and we didn't restart again until July. And in July, it actually dropped even worse. We were in the poor range. It's taken a bit of work to get it up, but we are now, December was at a 74, just at the edge of fair. And I'm hoping that January, our average will be in the good range. We typically bounce between like a 70 and a 76, I would say right now. So we'll see what our average ends up being. But if not January, we'll get there in February for sure. And this is really my first time taking over an email program and having to work to increase my score. I've always started email programs from the get-go, from scratch, and started my list with 100 people and built it up to tens of thousands. And when you do it that way, it's really easy to have good deliverability score and good engagement because people are along for the ride, and you start small and you grow. This is different. I inherited a moderate sized list. I think originally it was about 100,000 emails. We've kind of cleaned that list and got it down to about 65,000 people right now, but we're sending to about 10% of that list today, so we can build that engagement, keep our scores high, and get our emails into the inbox. So if I go back to factors here, you can see that Klaviyo basically scores you based on 5 different things: your open rate, your click rate, your bounce rate, your unsubscribe rate, and your spam rate. You obviously don't want to see these. You want to see the greens, you want to see the blues. We've got an excellent click rate. On any given day, our open rate ranges from, at this point, 30% to 60%. Right now, based on the last 30 days, under 1% spam rate, we're usually good there. And unsubscribe rate is good too, but I will say it's a little bit higher right now because I did to send to. There was about 8,000 emails, and out of those, I think about 500 people engaged and probably another 30 people unsubscribed. So that did increase our unsubscribe rate. It decreased my open rate, decreased my click rate a little bit. Luckily, most of those did not bounce. A few did get through, but I did clean that list with a third-party tool before sending it. So we cleared out a lot of those potential bounces ahead of time. In my particular issue, if we go into reports here in Klaviyo, this is really cool. You can dive into like the specific inbox providers and understand what's going on. So when I first started this, and actually we'll bring the time period back, when we were, let's go back to, maybe you can like go back. Let's just do August of 2025 as we were ramping up messaging. So you can see right here how bad this was when we were starting. We were at a 11% open rate, less than 1% click rate. Bounce, unsubscribe, spam, pretty, fine, but not great. And you can see a lot of that is coming from Gmail and then Hotmail, Outlook as well. But the majority of our recipients are Gmail, so there's not. And if you improve Gmail, you're going to improve the others. It's just kind of how it is. Same with SEO, right? But you can see this is where my issue is. I'm sitting at a 3% click rate when like Verizon, actually not bad. Apple, not bad. Comcast, not bad. So this is my problem. And that is because Google just has kind of the strictest, I'm not quite sure the right word, not priorities, parameters when it comes to email providers. Probably because they have the most volume, so they have to. So, the goal is really to get this up. And if we go back to the let's just do last 7 days, see where we're at. Not great for the last, probably because of that Thursday email, but we'll go back to the last 30 days and here we are. So you can see 24% on Gmail, up from the 3%. Way, way better. These look great too. Hotmail's looking better. Comcast is looking good. So how did we get here? Well, one, it was going through and doing all the technical things, using tools like MX Toolbox to understand, did I have all of my email settings set up properly or were they not? And then using other third-party tools to just verify, were my emails going to spam? Were they going to the inbox, or in Gmail's case, are they going to the promotions folder? Those are, 3 different possibilities there. But once we figured that out, the easiest way to do this is to create a couple different segments dynamically in Klaviyo. And so I have my main segments that I'm sending to. I break it down on a per store basis for quality routes, and we send to each group based on their primary store. But then I'm excluding a few things. So I'm automatically excluding anybody that's bounced, even if it was a soft bounce, which might just mean their inbox was full rather than it's not a valid email address. But anybody that's bounced in the last, I think we do 60 days. And then I'm also excluding anybody that's quote unquote unengaged with our emails. So that's, didn't open it, didn't click it, just like hasn't looked at it. And that's at 60 days too. And so every 60 days, a new group of people comes out of that. And we try to resend again. Our obviously when that happens, our open rate drops a little bit, our bounce rate might go up a little bit, unsubscribe rate might go up a little bit. So that's why you kind of see these things kind of fluctuate right now. We're like in that process of stabilizing our deliverability score. We actually, I think it was the week of New Year's, we had about 8,000 or 9,000 people come out of the unengaged segment, and then that dropped our open rate. If this was 2-3 weeks ago, we'd probably be sitting at an average of like 55 over the last 30 days rather than this 32. Let's actually check. Let's do custom, and let's just go back to, let's see here. Let's just go back to December and see where we're at for the month of December. 41%. Yeah, so a full like 10% higher than where we are currently in January, or maybe not a full 10%, but like 8 or so, and then 5% higher than November. So December we were looking really good until we had that email that went out, I think probably on the 30th actually. I bet let's see what happens if I do that. No, still the same pretty much. We'll go back to Christmas and see what it looks like. 47%. Yeah, so it was that week after Christmas that really took a hit, but we were at about, almost 50% open rate, 2% click rate, which is pretty awesome to see. Bounce rate was low, unsubscribe was kind of high. I think it was because we were sending a decent amount of messages in December, and then spam compliant rate looking good. But yeah, so that's kind of how we did it. We're still working on this. You can see, peak, I'll call the 1st through the 25th our kind of peak open rates. We were hitting almost 36% on Gmail, which is awesome. And again, over the last 30 days, we're at 24%. So a little bit of work to do to get that back up, but that is the easiest way to check your deliverability rate, deliverability score rate, everything using Klaviyo. Again, all email service providers are not the same. Some of them give you 0 insights into this data. And some of them, I don't know how all of them work. Some of them I think just have one, or maybe not one, but like a few servers that they don't score. And so you're mixed in there with all these different senders that might have lower or higher rates according to Google than you. So that you might not even have control over your own deliverability if that's the case. Some of them I know, more niche, smaller providers, they just give individual servers to individual clients. That's probably the easiest scenario, because then you are in full control of your destiny there. However, if they don't let you see what's going on, if they don't break it down by inbox provider and actually show you what's going on, you might not know why your emails aren't getting delivered. And then the last thing that I'll mention before I end this video is, with Gmail in particular, and this is actually the step we're on now that we've got, to this like 25 to 35 range with open rates, we're now working on getting our emails moved from, even though we're landing in the inbox most of the time, we're still landing in the promotions folder. So now we're working on moving our emails from that promotions folder and into the inbox, so we can get a even higher open rate. I don't know that we'll ever hit the 50 to 60% rate on Gmail, but if we could get 40, 45, that would be awesome. So that's really my goal, and drive more revenue at the end of the day. Right now I'm doing about 100K in revenue per month for email. Big lofty goals. I want to 10x that. I want to hit a million a month in email revenue. So this is how we get there, slow and steady.